in those moments of sadness, frustration, anxiety, pain, resentment, my first thought is, man, there's a dad out there that buried their child today.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much struggle as I'm experiencing, man, we're on the right side of the grave. And that's enough to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think most people choose to find perspective. They just live in this little bubble and they allow themselves to believe that nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody has it as bad as this. And it's like, bull freaking crap.
Yeah.
Like, people are dying today.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty solid day in my books.
Yes, we did.
And it feels so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really how I look at it.
Hi, welcome to Say More Words, a podcast that was created to emphasize the human experience through stories. I hope that you come here to learn, to expand, and most importantly, learn how to say more words. Speak your story, speak your truth, boo-boo. We're so happy you're here.
Okay, welcome back to Say More Words. I'm super excited that you're here. I'm super excited to have you in my space. I'm super excited that y'all get to experience Kyle Draper.
Woo!
Like, I'm so pumped. But before we introduce Kyle Draper, tell us what the song of the day is.
Oh, I did. I have to remember the name of it. My 10-year-old picked it. It is Your Way's Better by Forrest Frank.
Oh, I've never heard that song before.
Do you know it? Should I play it?
Play it.
This is a popular TikTok dance right now.
Is it?
Yes. It starts, it's a build.
Okay.
It's a build.
I love a build song.
To the.
Oh.
You heard this part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Come on. So there it is. There it is.
I love it. So, y'all, I met Kyle Draper, gosh, it was about a year ago. He was speaking at an event that I was at. And one of the things I think that is unspoken amongst speakers, I think, is that, I don't know if you do this. I'm just going to speak for myself.
Yes.
In the fact that, like, when I go to an event where I'm going to learn, I am not judgmental, but I respond to speakers' energy.
Oh, for sure.
And when they get on the stage, I'm either like, I'm going to listen to you or I'm not. Like, that's just what it is. And Kyle got on the stage and I was like, you're one of the people where I was like, mine, that's going to be my friend.
That's right.
And so Kyle is obviously a speaker, but Kyle, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I'm a true serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
I love starting new things. And so I travel and speak. So I have a speaking company. I have a virtual assistant company where we take remote staff and pair them up with American businesses. And that's a lot of fun. I have a coaching company in the mortgage space. And so we coach mortgage lenders. And then I have a publishing company where we put out books. And by the time that this drops, there might be another LLC out there. Right. But as of right now, those are the things.
I love it. So how did you get into this space? Because, I mean, obviously being a serial entrepreneur, you get to experience a lot of people. You've met a lot of people, done a lot of things. How did you get here?
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
I was a pastor for 10 years. And when I felt like my calling was moving me towards like the work world, I jumped into roofing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No clue what I was doing. And it was in roofing where like Facebook Live had just come out. And so I thought, I'm a good speaker. I can do stuff in front of the camera. And so I was going live on the rooftops of houses and no one was watching. If I would come home and my wife would be like, I saw you on a roof on video. Did that make us money? And I'm like, well, not exactly. But it was that season that really taught me how to do marketing, how to do branding, how to storytell, and really just show up for people online. And so then that led to teaching realtors how to use social media, which led to me traveling the country and speaking about marketing things. And then you meet this person and it turns into this. And then I decide to write a book, and people are like, man, that Rethink Everything name is so cool.
I love it.
And so I just stopped and prayed and was like, God, am I missing this? Like, I'm not that smart. So I missed most things.
I miss a lot of sides.
And what came was like, could we be the new age book for dummies? Because I'm 42 years old.
Yeah.
And Book for Dummies has been around as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
And like, they're calling people dummies. Like, hey, dummy, come learn about this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And so my dream has now become like, can we be the new aged book for dummies that does it from a place of positivity and encouragement? And so we've written 7 books now, and we've got 6 more coming out before the year's over.
That's amazing.
And it's just one thing. And then I had a marketing company, and I hired a VA in that marketing company. And then one VA led to 2 VAs, led to 20 VAs. And then again, I don't catch stuff. So my team's like, hey, we're really good at this. We should have a company that helps other companies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are so smart. And
I
so,
missed it.
so we launched Higher Culture, which is our virtual assistant company. And so that's like, my whole story is just a story of an average dude that is just always willing to say yes and surround himself with people smarter than him. And here we are under blankets,
in front of the fire,
having a conversation.
So if y'all didn't catch it, I'm just going to kind of reiterate one of the most important, a couple of really important things that you said.
Yeah.
One, you went live and nobody watched.
That's right.
I don't know who needs to hear this in business, but so many people, in business or not, so many people try something and it doesn't work the first time, and they're like, well, that doesn't work. That's going to fail. I have a very similar story. When I started my company, which was 6 years ago this month, I started with in-person dinners because I decided that in order to make people really uncomfortable, I needed to give them wine, whiskey, and then make them uncomfortable.
That's right.
But I started Tea Time with Tamika. And I would go live, and there were so many people who were like, why are you doing that? Nobody's watching. Or why are you doing this? That doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden it started to propel. And now like my numbers on, if I do a tea time, which is very rare these days, because now we have the podcast, it blows up.
Yeah.
Like persistence is key. If you did not hear that, he is very successful, but nobody was showing up at first. Also, 2, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you.
That's it.
I think that's what I love about being a speaker is that, yes, it's really cool to be on stage and that high is really cool. But every time I'm at a conference, I get to meet somebody that is so much better at everything than me. So I'm like, at everything than I am. And then it leads to a person that leads to a person that leads to a person. So, okay. I want to go back to Rethink Everything because that's beautiful and wonderful. And I think one of the things that attracted me to you as a human is that your spirit is so kind and joyful.
Yeah.
Like you've had, when you were on stage, I can't even remember specifically what you said, but it was like, I've tried this, this didn't work. I went here, but I still persisted and I was really happy through it. So Rethink Everything, positivity for dummies, which is, I think, amazing.
Yeah.
What is your mission with that? Like, where are we looking to go? Obviously to help the masses, but like, what are your next steps?
So I think it's a dual desire from both sides. So one, just putting out books that are teaching people things from a place of positivity and encouragement.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of it. But what I've really enjoyed the most that I wasn't expecting or prepared for was watching people that either did or didn't want to be authors become authors, and just the joy, like, because I don't, hopefully most of us probably don't spend a ton of time like thinking about that one day you won't be here, like, because that's not exciting and happy, right? But at the end of the day, what we leave behind matters. And for most people, no matter what they achieved, once they're gone, they're gone. And so to watch somebody like put something in their hands that they can go, this will outlive me. like my kids, my grandkids, like 100 years from now, somebody could be reading my book
Mm-hmm.
and finding value, inspiration, feeling encouraged. And that to me is the greatest joy because it's an unexpected joy.
Mm-hmm.
And man, people, like, I get so much thankfulness from people
Yeah.
for just letting them be like it's my, like it's, like it's me. I'm like, dude, you did it.
Right. This
I
is
just
you.
gave you the platform. And so
Mm,
that's my favorite part is watching people
people.
just get excited.
The thing, everyone, if you've been here for a minute, know that I speak in music lyrics and early '90s sitcoms. When you said that, it reminded me of Malcolm Moore's line, which was one of the things that really moved me to start my company, or like to start the mission of helping people become better people. Where he said, "You die twice," and it's a famous quote, but he rapped it, so it sounded better.
Yeah.
But it's like, I hear you die twice, once when they put you in the grave, and the second time is the last time that somebody remembers your name.
Mm, yeah, that's
And
strong.
you're creating that legacy, which is
100%.
so powerful. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it kills me that people don't think that far down. Um, that as the most connected generation that has ever existed on the planet, we are the most disconnected because we don't tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we have to, one of the things and part of, why this environment exists is because we have to go back to the cavemans. We have to tell our stories.
Yeah.
And so that's super
Well,
powerful that you're giving people that
so
platform.
you may already know this because you're smarter than me, but somebody watching, listening doesn't know this. So there's data that shows that the average adult daydreams 50% of their waking hours,
Mm.
which is wild.
Yeah.
But when you think about how unproductive most people are, that's why, because we spend half of our day just la la la, like just in la la land.
Yeah.
Well, one of the times we stop daydreaming is when we're listening to someone tell a story,
Oh.
which is why, like, we all know storytelling is powerful, but the data is because when you're telling a story, I don't need to daydream anymore because you're daydreaming for me. And so if we just spend time sharing facts
Mm-hmm.
and this is why you should, nobody cares.
No.
But when we envelop, create that story, now people get glued in, and it's just because our brains are prone to daydreaming.
Mm.
And so it makes storytelling even more valuable.
Yeah. Random question here to place. Speaking of daydreaming, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
That was
the dream.
the dream.
Okay.
And that obviously did not happen.
It did not happen. It's okay.
But that was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And never in a million years would I have thought that this is where I would be.
Yeah.
But I practiced my autograph a lot growing up, expecting to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And I haven't got to give it as much as I
Well, now you're going to.
would have liked.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's really cool. So as a speaker, as someone who tells the stories, what would you say, your mission and your why for being on stage?
What I feel like, and you said it in the very beginning, like I just have this unique gift to make people feel seen.
Yes, you do.
And to make people feel valued.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could, like, say this is the 4-step process to make people feel seen. But
No.
it's just like, I just think like it's just a gift that God gave me to just, I mean, my whole life, like I can look back at stories, and that's my favorite part of being on stage is that I feel like if somebody's spending money to be at a conference where I'm there, they may not be there for me,
Mm-hmm.
but they're there because they need something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes we overcomplicate what we think we need. And so if I can just love
Amen.
you for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
to just help you realize like you already have it. You're already enough.
Mm-hmm.
So leave this room and go do what you want to do.
Do something.
You don't lack anything.
Yeah.
Other than you're just not willing to start.
Yeah.
And so that's my favorite part.
One of the things that I remembered too from when you first started talking that I want everyone to hear is that sometimes God has to beat you over the head because you are not listening.
Oh
Sometimes
gosh.
sometimes the signs are so obvious, and we live in a world in which people think when things are going good, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's what I appreciate about you is you're like, it's going good, we're just going to keep going good. Like
Yeah.
being in that world of positivity and joy is like, this is good and it can get better and more things are going to come.
Yeah.
But people think like God's not talking or he's not showing up, and sometimes, boo, it's just because you're not listening
100%.
and you got to get
Yeah.
beat over the head in order to hear it.
Yeah. Well, and I also think as a part of, because I don't ever want people to think that like I'm just this positive guy that doesn't experience bad things.
Yeah.
And what I've also learned is with positivity, you have to also pair it with perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so perspective is like, I have a son with special needs.
Mhm.
He'll live with us his whole life.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that.
Mhm.
I don't talk about it on social media.
Mm-mm.
I don't know that I even talk about it on a podcast until
Today.
And so in those moments of sadness, frustration, anxiety, pain, resentment, my first thought is, man, there's a dad out there that buried their child today.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much struggle as I'm experiencing, man, we're on the right side of the grave, and that's enough to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think most people choose to find perspective.
Mm.
They just live in this little bubble and they allow themselves to believe that nobody knows what I'm going through.
It's only
Nobody has it
me.
as bad as this. And it's like, bull freaking crap.
Yeah.
Like, people are dying today.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty solid day in my books.
Yes, we did.
And it feels so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
on the gratitude, how do you hunt for it? Do you hunt for it, or do you just
I
experience it as it goes on?
I don't I think if you've got to a place where you have to hunt for it,
Yeah.
you're already losing.
Mm.
And so I think for me, like, gratitude starts when my feet hit the ground, when I roll out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, again, some people got in bed last night and they didn't wake up today.
Amen.
And so I hit that, like, my feet hit the ground. Like, my mindset is, God, thank you for another day to serve people, to go be your voice box to the helpless, to the hopeless.
Yeah.
Thank you for my kids, for my wife. And if it doesn't start then, like, negativity will eat you up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, people need to stop hunting for it and go get it
And start it
with breakfast.
Yes.
You know?
That's super powerful. Like, there are so many people who wake up already thinking like, "Oh, I'm so tired. This hurts."
Yeah.
Like all of these things, and it's so powerfully draining, and people don't realize how specific. And I think that's what's really powerful with the brand and what you're doing with Rethink Everything is
Yeah.
you really do have to rethink life.
Yeah.
Like, you maybe were raised one way and you want to think differently, or you ran into somebody at the grocery store and they're like, "Oh, it's Monday," and you're like, no, I'm going to rethink the thought that they just had and be like, "No, I'm thankful it's Monday. I'm thankful I have a place to go to work.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I get to do this life." And it's really important for people to hear.
Well, and what's interesting about rethinking everything,
Yeah.
most people are unwilling because their own insecurity keeps them from being able to see a different perspective. And so that's why, like, in the world of religion,
Mm-hmm.
people fight about it when it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, like, why can't we hear one another's opinions? And whether we ultimately decide to change our opinions or not, doesn't mean I can't listen to your perspective. Like, if somebody walked in today and was like, I don't think gravity's real, I'm pretty confident that gravity's real.
Yeah.
But I've trained myself to go, interesting. Like, tell me more about why you so emphatically believe the opposite of what I believe. Because maybe there's something in there.
Maybe
there's
something I
not.
missed.
But I have enough confidence in what I believe that I'm not offended by what you believe.
Mm.
And so it's that curiosity instead of judgment that I find immense value in.
Yes.
In living life every day.
Everybody in my life trembles when I go, "Interesting." And then I'm just silent because they now know
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to say more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, I have 1,000 thoughts in my head, but
Right.
I need to know what you're thinking
Yeah.
or how we got here. What's the path? Say more words.
That's right.
Say more. But
I
I
love
think that's
that.
what's really important. What's really key in what you said is you have the confidence in your beliefs to be like, that's not what I believe, but I am interested. I need you to say,
Yeah.
and that's what I think is, a huge problem in our world today is that we're made to believe that somebody who thinks differently from us is wrong. And it's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
they've just got a different belief. And as long as they are not harming you, your body, your money, your family,
Right.
by all means, boo, let them live in whatever world they're in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's delusion. And we just go, great.
Yeah. Well, and it also requires like you have to have like confidence is an interesting thing because too much of it is ego,
Mm-hmm.
and then not enough of it is feeling like you're less than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that fine line. And I think it's, especially as speakers, right? Like we get to meet the elite of the elite
Yes.
from a mindset perspective.
Yeah.
And what I watch is like men and women that can kind of like turn on confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but then also flip confidence off a little bit and like turn on empathy
Mm-hmm.
and lower their ego to hear someone's opinion that naturally they want to push back towards, but go, well, that's all right. Say more.
Yeah.
And,
Let me learn
I can
more.
still leave this conversation going, dude, that person is crazy. But
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I allowed them to feel heard and listened
Seen.
to and seen. And man, that not enough people are talking about emotional intelligence. Like even school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we still teach these kids to take tests and learn data. And it's like, man, nobody cares. Like I could go be successful and not even know the multiplication table.
Right.
If you
I
could
didn't need those speed tests back in the day.
if you can give me emotional intelligence
Yeah.
to navigate relationships and conversations, and it's not happening
Amen.
enough.
Oh, it's not. That is spot on. Who is your favorite speaker you've ever seen? I
Oh,
know.
my favorite one I've ever seen. Well, this isn't my favorite, but I spoke at an event a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, and Kevin Hart spoke.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
you never know, like with a guy like that you only know him as like super funny on a screen. You never know what they're going to be like in real life. And so he did like a fireside chat talk with the CEO of the company that put the event on, and he was asked, has there ever been a movie that you wanted to get done that didn't get done? And you would think in a career as long as his that he'd have been like, oh dude, tons. He said nope. And we were all kind of like, what? And his response was one of those brilliant things I've ever heard. And he said, I don't hear no, I hear not yet. And he said, so when I take an idea in and I pitch it and they're not feeling it, I immediately go, I must have not told it right. I need to redo the way I do this part. And so his self-ownership, whereas most people are like, screw that company, they're idiots, they don't understand. He instantly was like, no, it's me. I obviously didn't do a good enough job of casting the vision for this. And so I go back to the drawing board and rework it a little bit. And then I come back and he said, I've never had a movie that didn't get made when that's my perspective. And I think we're well, I'm not going to speak for everybody. I am so quick to hear no and go, oh, bummer, instead of going, oh, like what I said's awesome. And so if you're not buying it, then I'll be back.
Yeah.
Like give me
You'll
a
come
week.
back.
Give me a week. I'm gonna rework some things. And like what a cool perspective.
Yeah.
And so I've like that was 3.5 weeks ago. And like I just can't stop thinking about, dang, like how many opportunities have I missed? Because I was like, well, they said no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to the next.
Yep.
And it's like, no. I'm gonna keep fighting for that because I believe in it.
Yeah.
And so I was not prepared
For that impact.
for that level of wisdom from a comedy guy.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
That is really cool.
and it's Kevin Hart. Like,
It's-
that's cool.
That's a really cool person
That's
to share
just
the
cool
stage
in
with.
general.
Shoot.
It was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is your next step? What's your next goal? I mean, we're gonna have 3 LLCs back out before this comes out, but
We actually,
what crazy ideas do you have?
It's a joke. I've committed to not
Doing
starting
anymore.
anything else. Yeah. It you come to a point where you realize, like, oh, I'm just gonna end up having more average businesses.
Yeah.
Instead of a couple that are balling, you know?
Mhm.
And so for me, what's next? It's crazy that this is what I'm choosing to do. I'm actually pulling back from speaking,
Okay.
though I believe it's the single greatest gift God gave me. Because for years, like, I've, like you, been at events, watching other speakers, and I'm judging them from a speaking perspective. And I'm like, did I crush them?
Yeah.
Like, how are they getting paid $100,000? Like,
Right.
I will smoke them
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
And I finally, again, I'm dumb and it takes me a lot longer to understand things. Like, I finally, earlier this year, was like, you know what? People don't want great speakers. People want people who have accomplished a lot that can then just speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not as concerned with their ability to communicate as they are talking from the experiences that they've had.
Yeah.
And so I decided earlier this year, I'll speak when I get asked to speak, but I'm going to pour into, like, leading my businesses so that when I have multiple businesses doing millions of dollars in revenue, now people will want me for what I've done. And then I'll already have the skill set of
so
speaking to go with it. And so it's really hard because I love being on stage. But there's a lot of people in my companies that, like, they depend on the company's success, not my speaking success, for their families. And so I'm posting less and showing up a little bit less online because we're just in the darkness, grinding away and building something special.
Yeah. The work that you do is really powerful. So I love that you are pouring into that, because it'll make you super explosive in a couple of years when you're ready to just go right back out
I hope so.
It's going to be amazing.
I
Well,
hope so.
I'm super proud of you. I'm
Thank
super
you.
grateful that I got to meet you and get to watch you on stage. And Kyle is going to be sharing the stage with us here in Las Vegas this year. And we are super the Las Vegas lineup is, so you're going to love, if you haven't met some of them, you're going to love them, because it's going to be an absolute fire event of just joy and happiness and overcoming. And it's just, I don't even have a theme, but I've got the people, and that's all.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's it.
And
I'm glad this is almost over, because this blanket's making me hot.
Okay,
so.
Yeah, we're done. We're gonna get out of the blanket. I forgot that I come on here with a blanket
every time.
But I love observant people.
That was my first thought, is I'm wearing a blanket.
I'm wearing a blanket today
because none of her guests ever have one.
No.
What's up with that?
Listen,
so trendsetter.
Here we go. So y'all, I'm going to link Kyle's information in our show notes. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, get some of his books. He'll sign them for you.
That's right.
You know, I love a signed book. It's a love language of mine. Kyle, I'm so thankful that you're here. I'm so thankful to know you. And I am excited for all of the massive work that you're doing on our population. So y'all, we'll see you next time.